Hello and good day to my Elevation Health family. This is Dr. Dave Yachter, the chiropractor. And today I've just been thinking about how close we're getting to the month of September here. And we know that September is National Heart Health Awareness Month. So this is really important for most folks that I know, most folks that I take care of. Heart disease is definitely an important thing. We're going to talk about the three major heart disease myths today. And you're going to understand why it's so important from the standpoint of all the critical factors that people make and what to do to avoid these mistakes. It's so important because we know that heart disease is the leading disease killer in the United States every year for men, women, people of most racial and ethnic groups. And every 37 seconds, a life is lost to cardiovascular disease. So for most of you, I know this is something that's on your radar. So you want to pay careful attention to what we're going to discuss today. Most people, like you and I, we're looking to get control over our cholesterol and our blood pressure issues. And we truly are trying to get well and stay well. And unfortunately, all too often, I've seen that the treatments for these issues become far worse than the disease itself. So let's talk about these myths. Myth buster number one is cholesterol is bad. That is a myth. In fact, the brain holds 2% of the body's mass, but contains 25% of the total cholesterol. And cholesterol forms the membranes of every cell in your body. It keeps the cell membranes functional. So it's a very, very, very necessary molecule for normal body and brain function. Cholesterol in your brain serves as a powerful antioxidant, and it protects the brain against the damaging effects of free radicals, which causes cancer and aging. So again, this is really important to remember. Neurons rely on the delivery of cholesterol from the bloodstream by way of LDL. The neurons in your brain depend on LDL, which is supposedly the bad cholesterol. In fact, LDL is not even cholesterol. LDL stands for low density lipoprotein. So it's really a protein that transports life-giving cholesterol to the neurons in the brain to help them fire, to enable you to think, do critical thinking, solving problems and things. It's necessary to perform critical, important functions in your brain. So what happens to these benefits? Anyway, just a question. What happens to all these benefits of cholesterol when you lower your cholesterol? So that's one question to ask yourself, and we'll come back to that. So that's mythbuster number one. Mythbuster number two, statins prevent heart disease. And that is a myth. Statins do not prevent heart disease. In fact, a 2018 study presented substantial evidence that total cholesterol and LDL cholesterol levels are not an indication of heart disease risk, and that statin treatment is of doubtful benefit as a form of primary prevention for this very reason. Back in 1994, the Journal of the American Medical Association put out a study of 1,000 participants. This was a 4-year Yale University study, and they showed clearly demonstrating that people with low total cholesterol had just as many heart attacks as those with high cholesterol. So there you have it. Mythbuster number three, saturated fat is associated with an increased risk of heart disease. And so that is in fact a myth. The fact is that studies have been proven over and over again as recently as this one particular journal, the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition. They followed 340,000 people somewhere between 5 and 23 years. Over that period of time, they demonstrated that the intake of saturated fat was not associated with an increased risk of coronary heart disease, stroke, or cardiovascular disease, quote unquote. The actual risk for heart disease was 19% lower in the group consuming the highest amount of saturated fat. So in this particular study, it showed that the people who had more saturated fat in their diet actually had a lower risk of cardiovascular disease. Interesting, the exact opposite of what we have been told all these years. So, wow, that's really confusing, Dr. Yachter. What am I to think now? What am I to do? Well, the solution is to ask yourself intelligent questions and ask your doctor intelligent questions once you have a good understanding of how all this actually makes sense and how it works together. So number one, here's a good question for you to ask. If my cholesterol serves an important life-giving purpose in my body and my brain, then what are the consequences of lowering my cholesterol levels? What are the consequences of lowering your cholesterol levels? Because there are consequences. Here's another good question. If numerous studies continue to show that statins, cholesterol drugs, do not prevent heart disease, then are the potential long-term side effects of these drugs worth the risk? Good question. Here's another good question to ask yourself and your doctor. If saturated fat is not associated with an increased risk of heart disease, then what favorite foods can I go back to enjoying with peace of mind? These are great questions, intelligent questions. And my patients ask me all the time. So you can get the answers to all this, and that's what we're doing the workshop for, as well as how to reduce your risk of heart disease by 90%, get better control of your blood pressure and your cholesterol the right way, reverse type 2 diabetes, learn about the most powerful heart-healthy foods and nutrients. You'll learn all this and a whole lot more at our upcoming Heart Smart Nutrition Blockbuster Workshop event. It's coming up Monday, September 13th at 6 o'clock. So we're doing early registration right now, so you can click the link below, found in the description box, or just call our office with the number on the banner below. Seating is limited, so again, we're opening registration now so you can get your free tickets through Eventbrite for yourself, your family members, your loved ones, your friends. This is a life-saving, life-changing event. You don't want to miss this. You'll get all these answers, peace of mind, and so much more. Right now, go ahead and register, and I look forward to seeing you there. I'm so glad that you were able to join me today. I love and appreciate you. And as I always say here at Elevation Health, live, learn, grow, and change. Thank you, and have an awesome day.